most of us don't love the thought of sorting through all that paperwork. We've got a system that works for you. This episode of the Dollar Saving Divas podcast is brought to you by RentTheRunway.com.
You'll find more than 200,000 pieces and 400 designers in the Rent the Runway closet. For any event you might be attending, formal, cocktail, or festive, you can get 4 or 8 day designer rentals for a fraction of the price. Anything you want, one flat price.
And when you click the link on our Dollar Saving Divas Facebook page, you'll save even more and help keep this podcast free.
Look great and save money too at renttherunway.com.
Well, Leslie, I don't know about you, but we talk about organizing all the time, but you also need to organize your paperwork. And I actually have a system at home that we use, or I should say my husband and I use, but there's lots of different things. And some people are just really bad at doing it. Like they just throw everything on a table or a countertop.
You get that big pile, it piles up, and then once a year you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go through all this. And
scary.
Yeah.
Well, we actually, when my husband has a shoebox. He uses, it has to be
the shoebox system.
It is, and he puts a little, and it has to be a men's shoebox because it has to be pretty big.
Right.
My size 6 would not work for the year, but he has them all, dated by the year. And then after he pays bills, he marks on every bill when it's been paid, every medical thing. I mean, anything other than typical receipts, like, from restaurants or clothes or something like that. But everything else goes in the shoebox. And then at the end of the year, he's got all that for using for tax purposes. But, you always have all those receipts from when you're grocery shopping and when you're shopping, and it's like, what do you do with them? They're shoved in the bottom of your purse, or they're whatever, thrown on your countertop. My husband has, I think, an ideal thing that he has. We have
called a shredder. That's what we have.
Well, I was just going to say, that's exactly what we have. We have a shredder. He puts them we have a container. They go in first, and then they go through the shredder. So you never throw your receipts out like in a big old laundry bag, or grocery bag, and then throw it in the. Yes, that is not a smart thing to do. So definitely shred them is the key to it.
Yeah. Well, there are some things that you do need to keep. For instance, your insurance paperwork. So you want to save like your medical-related documents, your life, health, long-term care policy information. You want to hold on to these documents until the policies end or you cancel them. Same with home and auto coverage. You want to keep the current summary or the declarations page and the policy booklet. Again, hold on to that until it's replaced, the coverage ends, or it expires and you get new documents.
Well, I know we were just talking about receipts, but one thing is you don't want to just come home and then shred your receipts. You really want to keep them until your credit card comes in.
So you can compare sure that everything is
everything is there, because a lot of times, you've been charged double or something has been missed and you really need that proof to go back with. Also, proof of donations or payments related
always
to like
save that on your tax. I just keep a big tax file. This has the year, and everything that's tax related goes in that file.
Property taxes,
and then it goes to the accountant. The guy.
And then it goes off to the accountant. And remember, the rule of thumb is, IRS wants you to keep things for 7 years. In our case, we keep them for about 22.
Oh gosh, well, that seems excessive.
But it's but you can go back and check for 22 years and know exactly what we've bought, and what we've spent.
If one would want to do that, yes.
If one would want to do that. Well, another thing is people keep an envelope at the bottom of her purse. Now, my mom does this because my mom is not a computer person, but she does have all of her files organized at home. Oh. But when she shops, she has like a little thing of receipts. And the biggest time that this happens, and I've actually done this myself, is at the holiday time. I will put on the outside of a business envelope everybody's name and how much money I'm going to spend on them.
Oh,
and then,
okay.
Yes, and then the amount goes on top that I'm going to spend. And as the receipt comes in, I write their name on the receipt and I put that amount on the front of the envelope. So it keeps decreasing until it hits zero, and then I'm done shopping. But I also have all the receipts in there with their, if they need a gift receipt. So if there's a problem with it, I have them all together.
Now, I do that. Everybody's name, is on an envelope, and all the receipts are inside, and then I seal it up and give it to them. Don't open it unless you need to return something.
Exactly. But I think that's just a smart thing to do. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Investment documents. So if you're still getting paper statements, first of all, stop. You don't have to get paper statements. They'll email you all of those things. But if you are getting some paper statements, shred them if they contain your account numbers. But you want to keep any trade confirmations, 1099s, that and your plan coverage page with your account information. Hang on to that. You want to put those things in a lockbox, where you keep your important papers like your Social Security card and your passport and those kind of things. Hang on to that. But your statements, you might, if you want to keep them until you find out if you made any trades or anything, and you want to make sure that you have trade confirmations on there. But otherwise, you can shred those.
Yeah, and particularly at the end of the year, like you said, is when you're getting ready to do your taxes, just to
Those
make
1099s,
sure that you got all that. Well, I think we've talked about some great ways to organize our way richer.
I think so.
This episode of the Dollar Saving Divas podcast is brought to you by RentTheRunway.com.
You'll find more than 200,000 pieces and 400 designers in the Rent the Runway closet. For any event you might be attending, formal, cocktail, or festive, you can get 4 or 8 day designer rentals for a fraction of the price. Anything you want, one flat price.
And when you click the link on our Dollar Saving Divas Facebook page, you'll save even more and help keep this podcast free.
Look great and save money too at RentTheRunway.com.
Thanks for listening to the Dollar Saving Divas. If you have ideas for an upcoming episode, we would love to hear from you. Just head to our Facebook page at facebook.com/DollarSavingDivas and share your comments. Our podcast is available on iTunes, iHeartMedia, or your favorite podcast player. Thanks again for listening.
Circle270media.com